Mason, where'd you go?
My internet is being a turd, so I'm just testing this with my video off for a little bit.
Okay. So
You know
Mason,
what, guys?
this
I
is a
will say,
throwback.
you know what? This is a throwback for Mason, but also, guys, you know what? This is probably the best Mason has looked in years.
You do have
All
a
right. So
point.
Speeding up, no slowing down.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Track Packers podcast for episode 12 of season 4. Back from another fun weekend, a little bit chaotic in some senses, but we'll break down all the action from this past weekend with myself, Mason, and the Pelkeys, Becca, and Jessup. John will be a late add to the show this week. Becca, how are you doing? We missed you, I
Good.
believe, last week on the episode. Last week was like a hot
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah, it was. Good. Yeah, just keep him busy right now. Jessup's mom is staying with us, and so she gets to it gets to be grandma and take care of or help take care of Riley for us, and super appreciative of all her help th this week having her here with us. So, yeah, it's a fun little week. Let's see, we just got done with racing this past weekend. Make it to Jamestown, but it was another good night of racing at the Dakota Speedway. Got to try my hand of being the receiver person this past Friday, so that was interesting because our main receiver person, he'll be gone in a couple weeks, so I guess I will be that person coming up. So doing all sorts of things this year behind the scenes at Dakota Speedway.
Dang, we're adding to your list of duties on a
Yeah.
weekly basis.
Yeah. It's wild. Yeah, so yeah, it's interesting. I supposedly I did okay. We'll see, but there's a lot of things to remember. I don't think I've ever paid attention so hard during a race because I don't want to forget things, right? I don't want to forget to say things or remind the drivers of things, and so it's just it's a lot of anxiousness, but it was fun and it was something new and different, and yeah, adding to the list of things I've done at a racetrack, that's for sure.
I always thought it would be fun to be on the receiver for a night. So
Hmm.
enjoy it when you do get it. Mr. Jessup Pelkey, how are you doing this week?
I'm good. Tired. Getting my honeydew list done.
Nice. Yeah, I got plenty of stuff on my list to do, although I don't have a honeydew list, so to speak. It's just kind of a list.
Well, there it is, Mason. You have a list.
Maybe one day it'll be a honeydew list.
It could be.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe one day.
I'm
Uh,
not saying it isn't. I'm not saying it is, but it could be.
I
Could
mean,
be.
it could be Malaka's honeydew list, be like
Malika.
Malika.
Well, there is one thing on the list that could actually directly deal with Malacca that I've been putting off, but that might
Spade
be.
and neuter.
No, that's been completed well in the past. No, I'm coming off a 4-day race weekend and a full marathon. So
Hmm.
recovering, I'm pretty much back to 100%. Just a little soreness in my ankles but that's about it.
I don't know how you do it, Mason.
Believe me, Saturday morning, I was questioning a lot of things.
How hot was it, or how bad was it on Saturday when you ran with was it felt humid on Saturday, plus like with the smoke settling in, like how terrible was it?
For me, it wasn't bad. Now, I would say the haze kind of played like cloud cover, so it actually cooled down the temperature a little bit more
Hmm.
than probably people were expecting. And there was a nice breeze, so that helped too.
Okay, so it wasn't as terrible as I probably would have thought it would have been. So that's good.
Yeah, if you have like, I know people that have asthma have had issues since like Saturday, so that kind of played a factor for some of the runners, but for me, it didn't affect me,
That's good.
thankfully, I guess.
Although according to John, it sounds like you struggled at Jamestown. So,
Well, let's just say if I was walking upstairs, it was a struggle. Stairs were absolutely not fun. So, like me being on the third floor of an apartment building, absolute worst thing on Saturday for me.
and you don't have an elevator in that building either.
Nope. I called my mom and I'm like, now I know why you complain about my stairs to my apartment. I understand now.
Ugh. Good thing Jamestown doesn't have a very big grandstand. I mean, can you imagine if you had to go to Nodak or Dakota Speedway?
Yeah, I'd kind of be like, can you just grab me the microphone up at Dakota Speedway? I'll just sit down at the bottom. That like that one week that John had to do that from the bottom of the stands. Would have been a great setup for that day. But thankfully, back to normal, back to a regular type show now that we are coming off a kind of a normal-ish weekend and not Memorial Day weekend, which it pushes back everything a week and makes things all confusing. So thank you to all you listeners and watchers out there of the Track Packers podcast. As always, be sure to comment, give us a like, let us know where you're watching from. I know we've had a couple listener shoutouts. Austin Railroad from last week. We have Pat Kelly, that's a regular listener of the show. That was kind of fun that Jessup and him were kind of conversing about the podcast a little bit. So thank you, Pat Kelly, for checking us out as well. And thank you to our sponsor, Hitch Harness. Tyler Hall out of Fertile, Minnesota, supporting us for another season. Believe he had this weekend off. I don't think he attended a race this weekend, so some nice time off and quality time with the family, hopefully for Tyler. And you want to head over to hitchharness.com to check out the products he has, including the signature single or double style receiver hitch harness, keeping your receiver hitches safe in the back of your truck and also easy access. So in case you're in a rush, you can just easily hop right inside the trunk and store your receiver hitch right there. And so head to the website, check out the products and more, some racing shop amenities that you can find there as well. And thank you so much, Tyler, again for supporting us on the podcast this season. So the lineup, with the late addition of John, shifts the lineup to Becca still on the pole because I did not incur any penalties from last week. It was just way too messy. Jessup's back on the front row, and then it's myself. John will join the tail end of the field when he arrives. So, with the lineup set, we will officially start episode 12 with the waving of the green flag and get into who or what are we repping. Becca, start us off.
Well, it's not super exciting. I just got home from volleyball. We won two of our three games, so that's always a good thing. But this is the sweater I wore to volleyball because this morning when I woke up, I looked at the weather. It looked damp and cold. Thankfully, as the day went on, it warmed up some, but I was still kind of nervous that it might be kind of cold. So anyway, I wore a hoodie and like sweatpants to the volleyball, and then I like changed into like my leggings and my shirt for the game, whatever. But anyway, I wore my Zachary Madrid oversize 3XL hoodie because I was just I wanted to make sure that I'd be warm. So yeah, this is what I'm wearing, and then this is what I came home in, and yeah, I've worn this before on the podcast, but Dakota Classic Modified Tour registration should be opening up real soon.
Excellent. I hope the sound was still coming through because apparently my internet connection is unstable.
Oh yeah,
Well,
what's
we're
our
on who
plan?
or what are we repping? You're next, by the way, Jessup.
Well, I'm wearing a shirt. Now remember, folks, all my shirts are for pretty much up for sale as we speak. The upcoming list is from the remaining pile of the not have worn ones. So you're more than welcome to. If you see one, ask to acquire it. All right, so I'm
Ooh,
wearing the W2 Motorsports of the Wisegrams. Pretty nice
yes.
one.
Pat and Thomas Wisegram out of the Aberdeen area.
There you go. You see it? Yeah.
I feel
I
like
do
John
like that shirt, Jessup.
should be able to guess the year on that.
You should.
Oh, you want me to guess the year?
Yeah, I
Yes.
feel like
2011.
he,
Wrong.
what is it, Jessup?
I don't know. I'm just saying it's wrong.
Well,
After finding out that John cheated on all of our hot sauce memory rewind.
Yeah,
no,
let's talk
no,
about that though, Jessup.
no,
Now,
that's not true.
the 1 week I could not cheat, I got nailed on 100%.
Well, I got one this week, and we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to laugh.
Well, that's a cool shirt, Jessup.
Thank you.
I'll go
I,
next real quick before I lose internet or whatever's going on. Just a new
I
shirt for
appreciate it.
today, repping Caden Davenport.
Oh,
I don't think there's anything on the back,
Oh,
no.
that's nice.
So,
Oh, did you just get that one, Mason?
no, I
That's
got this
pretty
last
cool.
year. I just haven't
Okay.
worn it yet. But he had a pretty good weekend, which we will
Yes.
discuss
Nope.
later on the show.
He doubled up.
Yes. And he asked for a GoPro on the car. And so I granted him a GoPro in Jamestown. Turned out to be a good move.
This is also true.
Yeah. Right.
Can't hear you at all.
John's frozen. Should we
All
just
right,
start from
Becca,
the
what do
top?
you?
Yep.
No, we
There,
lost her.
John.
Okay, so now we're moving on to the next part of the show. Continue on. We're back to the good guys.
That was a quick start in park by John.
What's it?
Oh, you know
That was
what's
quicker than
happening?
Andy Hillenberg.
John, John's gonna be. Oh, I know.
Yes, you
Anyways,
do.
where were we? John, what are you wearing?
John, what are you wearing now that you're back?
Well, I've already wore this before, but I decided to wear it again.
Aw,
So since it's Gumpke Memorial Weekend, I'm wearing the first annual Gumpke Memorial shirt. That is also in memory of Jeff Carpenter, Don, and Keith Hermanson on the front of it. Okay, history lesson time. Who were the three winners of the Gumpke Memorial back in the first annual? And somebody get in before Becca looks them up because she's currently on her computer doing it.
Casey Satis.
Austin Arneson.
Mason's right for the mods. Jessup is wrong for the streets.
Oh, Billy
Oh,
Christ.
Jessup is still wrong for the streets.
no.
Because what three classes ran the first annual?
Streets, hobbies, and mods. Eric Riley, I think, in the streets.
Yep, Eric Riley won first appearance in Jamestown in the streets. Yep,
Oh, that's right.
yep.
Didn't Casey win it like last year?
Uh,
Or
I
was
think
it 2
Casey
years
won it like
ago?
2 years after that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
he won 2 years later. I can't remember the hobbies though.
mm,
Kurt Michelson?
No, it's a driver that still races, and he actually will be in a mod on Saturday.
oh, no, that's a Midwest mod I'm thinking of.
Becca still has not found these yet.
Hang
Easy.
on.
Just go on my race pass.
It's not that
I
hard.
have
Becca.
I have a spreadsheet. I don't know.
There,
I'm
let's
also in
see
the
who can get
wrong
there
year.
first.
I'm
Okay,
in the wrong
I'll give you
year.
guys a hint.
Okay,
What?
This driver's dad also races.
Sorry, the wrong name came to mind. It still would have been funny.
Oh, that's the wrong date. Shoot. Gah!
results
Results. Hang on.
from
I didn't track results back in
Oh,
2000
Matt Dukeshire.
Matt Duscher picked up
I
the win
wouldn't.
in the 68 hobby stock.
I
really.
would not have gotten that off the hints.
Yes. So yeah. Yep. See? History lesson worked again.
Boy, there were a lot of DNFs in the hobby stocks that year.
I think they had a lot of I don't even know if it was so much carnage or it was just
Carnage.
so I know, do you like how I'm saying that nowadays? Sometimes it's like really deep, it's like carnage. And then some days it's like and then it's like, like my start of my the start of the IMCA stock car feature event on Friday night. Has anybody
John.
listened to that yet?
Yes, I have.
I heard it.
Oh,
On
John,
the other side of the tower.
there is carnage.
And I I held it a little bit longer than normal. And I was like, oh, really can't even edit this out because it goes as when cars are going in turns one and two.
Hey, Becca, you can't fault John for being excited. I mean, I think that trend has kind of passed. That is who or what we are repping. Moving on to the Hot Sauce Hot Memory Rewind. Shout out to Isaac Hot Sauce Sandro on the 12S. I'm saying modified. Couple trips to the tech area this weekend for Hot Sauce. Fifth place finish up in Nodak and fourth place from 14th up in Jamestown. So good weekend for Hot Sauce. Be sure to follow his racing page, 12S Racing on Facebook. Stop on down to the pits for some good food or desserts from Mom Alana. Very, very good stuff. Tried it firsthand on Saturday. And thank you once again, Isaac, for supporting us on the podcast. Jessup, what do you got?
This is
Well,
true, guys, because that was the quickest that we saw Mason move other than running in the morning on Saturday.
how does that make you feel, Mason?
Oh,
If you had one of those cookie bars from Lana in Isaac's trailer, you'd understand.
If only.
But you never brought us a cookie bar.
Yeah,
Well,
just if we weren't there.
Exactly. You
it
should have
doesn't
brought
mean
it
he couldn't
here.
have grabbed three of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyways, on to more important things in life. Not saying cookie bars aren't important. It is almost super late for me.
I'm at least mingling with my sponsors.
I was at least promoting the podcast with the
Oh, here we go.
sponsors.
See,
Here we
we're
go.
doing our jobs promoting the podcast and making sure everyone's happy. I think it's a
No, no, no,
win.
no, 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 no. Let's back up really quick. Mason has not been doing his job promoting the podcast. He's been too busy mingling in the pits. Well, or maybe waddling through the pits is the better question.
We already discussed this in the private chat, guys. Let's move on.
Did we, though? I want to hear it in person. Anyways,
Oh, Mason.
And where do I live?
back to my entertaining story of the week that regards to the hot sauce memory rewind for me. Um, what was it? A week ago, we talked about how we came up with the throwback
Yeah,
and how it always goes back to me and this one car and the story of how it was Pat Kelly's late model that started the whole teasing of me. And out of the blue today, I got a random message, and lo and behold, it was Pat Kelly, and I was like, okay, this should be interesting. This could be either really good or really bad. And he sent a picture of his car. He's like, "Is this the one you guys were talking about?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, it is." And it reminded me of this, and he got a big the backstory of it, kind of, and he heard it from podcast before, and we always joke about how those are it's a throwback, and it happened to be that scheme was indeed a throwback. Now, I can't tell you, but Mason, can you share my screen?
I can give you permission to share.
Well, then just share it.
Okay, you can share.
Thank you. I'm gonna make everyone share. All right, here we go. Share. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
This is our hot sauce hot memory rewind photo for me this week. This is Grandpa's. Let me double check just to make sure I said it. That's right. Don't want to don't want to offend Pat.
I was gonna say he's a
Just a,
loyal listener.
He is. Let's.
But
just a,
no, it's a really nice car. Was that like an old hobby probably back in the day?
I didn't get a full backstory because we were running around with Riley and my grandma. Okay.
Was that like I want to say maybe 1975?
Too far back.
Too far back. Okay.
Yep.
Right.
All I got from Pat was this is the 1980s.
Okay. Okay. I'll say maybe like 81, 82. Maybe is what it looks like. It's kind of nice to see that people now, Jessup, is this at Proctor?
I don't know. This is not Proctor.
Okay. It's very
I
interesting
don't.
to me though to see that there's people tailgating right off the top of the turn though. Did you see that too?
I do, but that's not Proctor because Proctor doesn't have a wall in its corners. That was our hot sauce hot memory rewind.
Mason, did you have a hot memory rewind as well?
I did, but I'm going to save it for next week when I have better internet.
Okay, that's a good idea.
We should get Mitko to sponsor our podcast.
We should.
Sure, sure.
That would be
Why
a good
not?
idea. Do you guys think I should do my hot memory rewinds for you?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, I've got a couple of them here. So let me get it open first, and then I will share my screen.
Jamestown, 2002.
Oh,
Did I
shut
get
up.
the?
You didn't even get to the thing yet.
That is the grinder.
I would have laughed so hard if I would have got Jamestown in 2002 right.
Okay.
I think that is Jamestown.
I don't even see this.
Is that a mod 4?
That's a
Yes.
mod 4, and I don't know any mod
Yes.
4 guys.
I'm
Ah,
gonna guess that's a Gresseth.
Yes. Which one?
Oh,
Oh, I'm gonna say mm,
God,
it's gotta be Mike.
Mike.
It is my Gresseth.
ow,
Yes. Look at that.
ow.
See? You guys got one.
That's pretty good. Who's the guy on the outside, John?
That I believe is a Wilson because I think it's a 96.
Looks like it.
And he used to drive Super Stocks.
Hmm.
Okay,
No,
so next one. Who's this?
Oh,
Alex Engelstead?
No.
that's
Ah,
not who I was going to say. New London, Minnesota. Don't know
so that's
that.
a Wilmer area driver.
I'll give you a hint. He built chassis.
You built?
He built chassis that a lot of the drivers up here used to have.
Wow, this is really helpful for me.
It
Not
is.
Jeff Taylor.
No, but maybe Jay McDonald.
Oh,
I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, he used to be this is one of his fresh cars that he had back at the beginning of the 2000s. Okay,
hmm.
one more. Who is this?
Oh, that's a Jessup scheme right there if I've ever seen one.
This is a throwback for Jessup.
You guys are mean.
What
I mean,
did I
and you
do?
know what even makes it better, Mason, for Jessup on this one is that there's some dirt on there for him too. It even looks more throwbacky.
It's a unique
I
number
don't know.
placement too.
I
That
bet
is a good that is a good number placement, but it could be
Mason
further back
approves.
or either further forward too, like up by the front wheel well. Yeah, that'd look good.
Oh, okay, so I'll give you guys a hint. Um, Mason, this driver raced a lot out of Lisbon. He is from the Lisbon area. We saw him in Wissota Street Stocks. We've seen him in a Wissota late model. We have seen him in a Wissota Midwest Modified,
Rusty
and
Coleman.
he hasn't raced for a while now.
Oh
It's
Lynn
man.
been
Lamb.
probably it's been probably several years since the last time I probably have seen this driver race. But he's still very much involved in the racing community. He actually puts on an event each year that is very popular.
It's Lynn
Lamb
Lamb.
Lamb
Jam.
Jam.
And it is Lynn Lamb. Yes, it is. Yep, that is one of Lynn's first races in this street stock that
Hmm.
he had. So,
Nice.
okay, guys, those were my hot sauce, hot memory rewinds. What's up, Jessup?
Anyways,
That was
anywho,
That was the hot sauce hot memory rewind. We will move into the track pack report, and I'm going to go through my stuff real quick before I disappear off the face of the earth again. Started off Thursday at the Norman County Raceway. It was actually their season opener. They had the NRA late models in attendance with a very good field of late models on hand, 22 late models there. And then their five other divisions: Sport Mods, Legends, Midwest Mods, Hobby Stocks, and Stock Cars. And the track was in really good condition, a lot of moisture, and very racy the entire night. So hats off to the track prep crew for a great show. In your IMCA Sport Mods, the winner there was Ryan Rested, one of the heavy hitters out east. Pretty much left no doubt, even though he had to hold off a late charge from Jaden Pavlicek. But Ryan Rested in victory lane to start off the season at Ada. In your NX Legends, Ty Wilkie set sail in a caution-free race won by well over a straightaway. Like, you don't see that kind of domination in the Legends that often, but Hollywood Ty Wilkie starting off strong in Ada as well in the NX Legends. Late models was a pretty good race. They were racing all over the track. Dustin Strand started on the outside pole, so he pretty much led from start to finish. However, Tyler Peterson, Matt Gresseth were some of the heavy hitters. Gresseth had mechanical trouble halfway through and had to pull in. So that left Tyler Peterson to try to track him down. Was tracking him down with a few laps left, but just ran out of time. Dustin Strand gets the win for the NLRA season opener in Ada. Midwest Modified.
Mason, which Gresseth was it that was trying to track him down?
Mike Gresseth.
Okay, thank you.
Did I say Matt?
I think you said Matt.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean,
Both of us just at the same time were like,
fair enough. It was aggressive. I wasn't wrong about that, at least. Anyways, Midwest Modifieds. Matt Scow in the 2S has won, I believe, 3 out of the first 4 nights in that car this year to start the year. It looks really
He's got a
good.
nice looking car.
Really
Mhm.
I
nice
like
looking
it.
car.
I really
Mhm.
like it.
Yep.
Mhm.
Changed up the scheme for the first time in a few years and it's really paying off. So good start for Matt Scow in the 2S. IMC Hobby Stocks went to the 95 of Reed Randall out of Park Rapids, Minnesota, holding off a late
Mhm.
charge from Brody Eckert in the B2. And in your IMC cars, it was the Cool Cat or Minnesota Mud Missile, depending on the night. Calvin Kesselberg taking the win in front of Daniel Aberle, that looked really good to start the 2025 season as well. So that was your results from Norman County Raceway on Thursday. On to Friday race action at the Dakota Speedway. Becca, what happened at the Dakota Speedway?
Well, it was a pretty good night of racing. We had 114 cars check into the pit area. Quickly going through the feature results. It's starting with our slingshots. Otto, it's not Ryer.
Ryer. It's Ryer,
Ryer.
yep.
I was
He
going to ask
corrected
about
me.
that because I heard the different pronunciation.
It was pretty cute. He corrected me in victory lane. But Otto Ryer, he led actually most of the laps, except the last lap because caution came out near the end of the race, but they had already reached their time limit. And so Caden Davenport just nipped him right at the line. So Caden Davenport picked up his second victory of the season. Moving to our hobby stocks, Carly Horner started on the pole. And pretty much dominated that race. Bill Hultberg and Josh Rourke caught her near the end, but she held those veterans off and picked up her second feature victory at Dakota Speedway over the career, not this season, but her second career Dakota Speedway victory. So good win for Carly Horner. Very popular among the fans. Moving on to the Onyx Legends, it was a battle between the low line and the high line. Down low, you found Noah and Gage Madler. Up high, you found Ty Olson and Preston Martin. While battling for room on the high line, Ty and Preston kind of got into each other. There was a little bit of contact, which allowed the Madler boys to really kind of clear the top spot for themselves. And so then it became a battle between Noah and Gage for the win. Noah had a little tiny mistake on the final lap coming to the checkered flag, which allowed Gage to slip by and grab the win from Noah. So then moving on to the IMCA stock cars, it was Marlon Seiler. He had hands down the best car all night in the IMCA stock cars. went on to win his first feature victory of the season. And then in the IMCA modifieds, in my personal opinion, was the race of the night because that was a really fun battle between Sean Strand and Mark Dahl. They battled for probably 15 plus laps, just side by side, battling for the win. They were splitting slower lap cars, slicing and dicing their way through traffic, and um, coming to the white flag, it was Mark Dahl just edging Sean Strand, but as they came back for that final lap, coming to the checkered flag, it was Sean Strand just narrowly edging Mark Dahl for the win. So super great night of racing at Dakota Speedway. Can't, it was a good night. So
Yeah, got to watch the features afterwards, and they were all really good, I thought. I have a quick question for Jessup because, especially with that modified race when the leaders are side by side for 15 laps, for me, that would be hard to stay on the leaders that long because my natural tendency is to try to show as much of the field, but it's like you can't really leave a battle for the lead when it's like that.
Yeah, those are the ones where you get a bunch of hate mail from people who want to watch the other individuals, but then the problem is that is the race for the lead, and you have to keep it on what the race for the lead is sometimes. I mean, I wanted to drop back, but I just made the decision. They're side by side and we're about to split a car, and they did. And I was like, good, good. I have made the wise choice.
You did. Great job on that.
Mhm.
Also, Friday night, we had some action, more than just the racing type, because we also had Bryce Barnhart roll in his legend during his heat race. And caught some air in turns one and two, but luckily Bryce was okay after that rollover because that was a really, really hard rollover over there in turns one and two. So, like Becca had said, I would probably say, as of right now, just personally, Bryce probably has the roller of the year right now for Mandan, based on year-end banquet awards, right? And then probably Sean and Mark's mod race right now is probably the race of the year in my opinion currently from the Dakota Speedway side.
I would say, yeah, definitely would say so. But yeah, excellent racing Friday night in Mandan. That was really fun to
And
watch on a
and we
replay.
beat the weather. So barely, but we beat the weather. It
yeah, we
was
had a
coming down pretty good towards the end of that end of that feature.
yeah
We were
that
using
red.
the. Go ahead, Becca.
I was gonna say that red flag in the heat race for Bryce Barnhart was a pretty long red flag, and then the B mains and the legends also took some time to get through. So um, if it
We had
wasn't
two
for
red flags in the Legends
yeah
throughout the night. We had
yeah
that
so,
wreck with Jaden Sorensen, I think, in the Legends too that required some additional assistance.
hmm Yep, you're right. Yeah, if it wasn't for those extra long races, we it would have easily beaten the weather, but just because of those legend races that took a little bit longer, we came very close to some rain on the track. So
And also, you guys can thank me because I decided to go to Fiesta City Speedway versus Dakota Speedway this last Friday. Those were my two options.
thanks, Mason.
You're
Good job,
welcome.
Mason.
He just doesn't want to hang out with us anymore.
No,
I
because
mean,
then I would, then there's no guarantee you would have gotten the full show in.
That's beside the point. I wanted to hang out with, but you didn't want to hang out with us.
So, Mandan Friday night, the other race that the track packers took in on Friday was at the Fiesta City Speedway in Montevideo. The Structural Buildings Challenge Series was the main ticket on hand with 24 Wayzata late models there. They also had the Fiesta City Pure Stocks, Midwest Mods, Street Stocks, and Super Stocks in attendance.
Okay,
In your Pure
Mason, it's
Stocks,
late. I'm giving you 2 sentences per class.
alrighty, challenge accepted. In the Pure Stocks, it was Colston Schultz taking his first win at Fiesta City Speedway. So big congrats out to Colston.
That is a conjunction. That's a very long sentence. That's two. Next.
It's still within the parameters, sir.
That is three now. Yellow flag.
That's not talking about the Pure Stocks, you goof.
You just talked
Street.
about them. That's four.
So then up after the Pure Stocks were the Straight Stocks. 15 of those in attendance. Great race between Zach Flickinger and Colton Brower, with Colton Brower getting the win. Been on a hot streak as of late, especially down in that area. So big congrats out to Codenbauer, and the blue, white, and black number 34J that looks very, very nice out on the track, and a brand new paint scheme compared to last year.
He just talked almost like
Mason, I give you a high five for that. That was pretty
three
good.
sentences about a paint scheme, but he can't give us more than one for the pure stocks.
Well, and he can't give us more than one for the podcast either.
Yeah, this is true. One
Yes,
sentence.
isn't that
That's all you
like
needed.
isn't that like a little bit of an inception if I talk about the podcast in the middle of a podcast?
I'm talking
No,
about the features, Mason, when you do these classes.
Okay. See how I can incorporate that in, I guess. Third on the card was the Wissota late models, 40 laps around Fiesta City Speedway. Had a couple of wrecks to kind of start things off with, which took some contenders out of the mix. But Dave Moss, who looked really good in the 2 car, was railing the high side. But as the race kind of got into the long green flag run to finish out the race, Shane Sabraski was using the low line, slowly reeling him in. With about 8 laps to go, made the pass on Dave Moss to score the feature win, with Dave Moss finishing in second and local Jordan Tullochson in the 32 finishing in third. So great race in the Wissota late models. Super stocks, another clean and green race with Shane Zabraski starting on the front row, pretty much dominating the race and winning by almost a straightaway in front of Justin Tamman. So congratulations to Shane Zabraski for doubling up. And in the Midwest Modifieds, Ryan Flott in the 15 number turbine car set sail on Onyx Johnson, and he grabs the feature win to finish out Friday night at the Fiesta City Speedway. So very fun night of racing down in Montevideo for the Challenge Series night. And so that was your action from Friday night.
John, how does a Midwest mod driver get to have a turbine or as his motor for his car? Isn't that illegal?
Well, what he does, Jessup, is he goes to one of those wind farms in North Dakota and he gets one of
Oh,
those blades and puts it on his car.
oh, well, that will make his car a lot harder to pass, especially in the corners.
Sure, we'll go with that. Oh, Jessup and his jokes. On to Saturday,
Mason,
Jamestown.
Bruh.
we were both there in Jamestown on Saturday.
Yes, we had a great time, didn't we, John?
We did. We actually had a lot of fun banter going back and forth.
And
So,
only one
yeah,
person promoted the podcast.
it was, and it was definitely not Mason.
Wow.
No, no. So it was definitely me. I was just full on promoting us this past weekend for all the tracks I was at. And but Mason, you can go through how your night went at the racetrack with results, and I'll give my recap.
So I roamed the pits because I was trying to walk off the soreness from the marathon in the morning, and I was moving very slowly. So I was like, you know what? I'll just kind of stand off the backstretch for a little bit, record from there, which I thought the track was in really good condition. You could race from top to bottom in the heat races and in the features, and honestly, very entertaining night of racing. A lot of good, clean, hard racing in a lot of the classes.
Well, yeah, now go through results.
Well, we can start with the junior slingshots. We had Caden Davenport hold off a hard-charging Weston Uranker in the 31X. Those two were really the class of the field, and Weston was slowly, and I mean slowly, reeling him in. I think he needed probably about a lap or two more, and that would have been a really interesting finish. But congrats to Caden Davenport in the 29 seat for picking up the win, his second of the weekend. Would you like me to continue, John?
Yeah, go ahead, Mason. I'll give my recap at the end.
Alrighty, putting me on
Oh
the spot
no.
because I have to use my phone to do this because I don't remember everything off the top of my head, like the Rain Man. In your
You are the
bomber,
Rain Man.
Just the precipitation type.
yeah, I'm the precipitation type. John's the knowledge Rain Man.
Monsoon Mason.
Yep. And Hurricane Kayla, don't forget about that. They're
Mhm,
going to be in
mhm.
full force this weekend.
Yep. But
I don't think we're gonna be in full force this weekend, actually.
see,
Oh, it's
John.
only going to be you?
No, but I looked at the weather forecast.
So,
No, 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 no. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about you guys being together this weekend.
so as we go off on another tangent, have either of you seen the hurricane forecast for this year?
Yeah.
The
Isn't
model's
that
not
weird?
looking good. It's going to be
No.
really bad. And you know
Yeah.
who's to blame? The same two people who keep going to Florida every spring.
Yep. And they're usually down
Or
there around
you
the
know
same
what?
time.
I'm just gonna do this, John. This one for Hurricane Kayla.
Stay in your lane.
Stay
That
in
that
your
that should
lane.
be for Kayla because she's been looking at hotels recently for Florida.
Now,
This is even better. Then
and
yep,
now,
then you
after
should stay in
hearing
your
that
lane.
information, we're going to give this to Mason. Hold on. Stay in your own lane, Monsoon Man. You're no better. I'm sure you're signing up for a half marathon or a marathon now down there.
Not
And now
yet.
this goes to Kayla because that's right,
And,
young lady. You are
and
being black flagged even though you're not part of the podcast. Race fans, we are doing you a service. We are
and a
black
favor.
flagging them now before they can get to you.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And we're also going through, and I'm actually surprised, just a bit personal opinion here, that the Brown County Speedway even allows Mason back after what he
This
did
is
back last year
true.
in July.
Hmm. Hmm.
They loved me there a few weeks ago.
That's because you didn't bring any rain with you that time.
I know. And they want to have
One
me
out of
back.
20 times, and he thinks he's a
Yeah,
hero.
Alrighty. So Bombers were the first feature after intermission, after they worked the track a little bit. And Riker Vetter led from start to finish, if I remember correctly, looked really solid in that 29 machine. Held off Billy Caro and honestly, not really much of a challenge from anyone behind him. So big congrats out to Riker. That's his first Jamestown Speedway win and dominating fashion. So big congrats out to Riker Vetter in the 29. Midwest Modifieds was also a fun race, although it was dominated by Jaron Webstead. And Jaron's one of those guys where if he can get the high side working, very, very tough to beat. He had Kyle Anderson within striking distance through lap traffic, but Jaron was a wizard through lap traffic. Split a few cars, kind of weaving in and out, not really losing any ground. And so Jaron goes on to pick up the win in front of Kyle Anderson, his best career finish in the Midwest Modified. So, congrats to those top two finishers in that division. I'm frozen again.
that
Only two
we're done.
people.
Mason, you froze just like this too. You were like when you froze.
Gosh, freaking dang internet. John, you want to cover results from Midwest Modifieds on so I can give my bit?
Sure. So Mason's internet is giving him some fits. I mean, he's too busy trying to, like go like this, right? But no, so Mason and I were both in Jamestown on Saturday. Jamestown overall had 103 cars in the pits on Saturday night. And Midwest Modifieds were the second feature after the track got reworked in intermission, and it was Jaron Webster on the high side that was kind of gone. He redrew the front row from the redraw, and him and Kyle Anderson kind of stretched it out over the field. And Kyle was about a second and a half back, kind of closing in a little bit in lap traffic, but Jaron pretty much had the race in hand. They had one caution early in that race. Besides that, they were pretty much clean and green. In third spot was Brennan Waite. Brennan kind of fell back from his fifth place starting spot, worked his way back up into that third place position. And then right there within the top five was also Lucas Rodin, Jared Klein, Preston Carr was right in the mix. So a lot of big names there within your Midwest Modifieds. In your Legends, they were following the Midwest Modified feature event. That race also had an early caution, but then went clean and green. And it was Donovan Weist who kind of picked up from pretty much in the front row and went through and did a very nice job going into the bottom of the track, kind of keeping pace with it. However, it was Gage Madler who was working his way through the field and got around Donovan in turns one and two when Donovan messed up and kind of just zigzagged just a little bit. And Gage got around him, and Donovan held on for second. And Dustin Hagen had a great run over there on Saturday night and ended up in the top five. Looked really good. He started back, I think, in like 11th and worked his way up to third. Finished in fifth. You also had Noah Madler right up there in the mix. Ty Olson was up there in the mix. Andy Bargman was right up there in the mix. Austin Weiss and Gus Jensen was your hard charger after starting deep in the field and finishing in the top eight. In your street stocks were kind of an interesting battle up front. You had drivers like Jade and Chris back in a street stock. You had drivers like KCU Status who started deeper in the field and started working his way to the front. And then you also had drivers up front like Jody Michelson, your past track champion, who kind of took off on the start and kind of stretched it out over the field. And then you had drivers like Cole Gresseth who had to work his way from kind of mid pack to the front. So it was Cole Gresseth who got Jody Michelson on a restart and went back to back in Jamestown for wins. I would say the tough break award in your street stock feature had to be KCU status. Casey worked his way up from 12th starting position into the top five, was working on Jaden Chris for fourth when Jaden got loose in 3 and 4 and looped it right in front of Casey. Casey had nowhere to go and broke after hitting him and then hitting the inside wall. So tough break for Casey. That was only about 5 laps into the race too. So Casey was kind of on a charge to the front. Jody Michelson ended up second within that event. Tyler Shrink was right there in the top five, as well as Jordan Johnson was battling up there again into the top five and Jaden Michelson was also right up there in the mix for the top five. So great runs out there to those drivers. Your modifieds, IMC modifieds came on the track, and that was a really good battle up front. Track by that time was very much to where bottom had a good groove, top was coming in, and the middle had kind of been there all night. So top started coming in the IMC modified feature, but the driver that was on the move was John Nord. John Nord was on a mission all night on Saturday, and when he's got some tack on the bottom, John's really hard to beat. John got to the front, and battled really hard with Talon Seekerson, one of the youngsters out there, as well as a Travis Trout and Jacoby Trout. Those two were battling pretty hard up front. As well, had pretty good runs on Saturday night until some unfortunate luck for Jacoby and also for Travis. Travis, I think, blew it off the top of 3 and 4 late in that race. However, had some travelers that came over. Logan Schmitz kind of felt bad for him. Logan got involved in a lap one, corner one wreck in his heat race that took him out of the heat race. Started tail end of the field, worked his way up to eighth, and was really using the high side nicely. And then you had drivers as well as the 12S, one of our sponsors, the hot sauce. Isaac Sandro was there. Isaac started 14th on the field and worked his way up to finish in fourth. So really nice run up to Isaac there in the Jamestown area. But no, congratulations out to John Nord on a very nice win in the IMC Modifieds. And John Carell in that brand new Rage chassis worked his way into second and finished and runner up with some Coogan. So we were done right around 10:30, and it was a good night in Jamestown.
Nice.
Yep. That modified race was fun to watch. They were all over the track.
It definitely was. It's a good prelude to the Gumke Memorial this weekend.
That indeed it is. I'll finish off the track packer report with my quest up to Bemidji in the Chicken Shack, which I partook in the Chicken Shack twice because I was super hungry following running a marathon the next day. So, getting the results, they ran their normal 7 divisions, starting with the mini stocks. Hang on here. There we go. Had Conrad Schwinn in the 6th, taking the feature win there in front of Nick McCann and Jonah Espy in the 20J car. In your pure stocks, one of the national point contenders from last season, Dustin Puffy, held off a hard-charging Cade Leeper in the number 3 machine on a green-white checker. That was a fun battle to the end. In your Risotto Hornets, it was Brady Fossil picking up, I believe it's his first Bemidji Speedway feature win in the 27 from Hibbing in front of Trad Reller and Travis Olafson. So good job to Brady Fossil in the 27 machine. In the Midwest Modifieds, it was the Mikey Blevins Show the 10 Junior who checked out on the rest of the field by over straightaway. By the end of that race, Sam Blevins finished in second, followed by Gary James Nelson in third. In the Mod 4s, it was Ashton Swin in the 18 machine pick up the win over Patrick Speck and Blake Erickson. Modifieds, clean sweep went to Tanner Williamson all the way from Fort Francis, Ontario in the 88. And then Super Stocks, last race of the night, had a barn burner of a finish. That margin of victory, according to the transponder, 1/1000th of a second. Dalton Carlson grabbing the feature win. That was a very, very fun last couple laps. He was tracking down Brandon Barr in the 29X like super hard the last 3 or 4 laps, and that had a late race caution, and he was kind of using a diamond pattern and finally got underneath them on the white flag lap in 1 and 2, but then used the high side to get the win coming to the flag stand. So great way to finish out the night at Bemidji Speedway. I hope to make it up there in a few weeks once again for some more good racing action. And so that was this week's Track Packer Report. And so we move on to what's upcoming next in the state of North Dakota, which is a lot. What do we have, Mr. Dakota Dirt?
Yeah. I mean, race fans, if you want the one-stop shop for everything North Dakota racing news, results, weather forecasts, schedules, much more, you have to check out Dakota Dirt. Again, they are on social media platforms. You can check them out on Facebook as well as dakotadirt.org. But a lot of racing action happening upcoming this weekend. And Jessup, take it away.
There's a lot going on.
You don't say.
Look, long and short of it, it's the Tougher Than Dirt Tour week, 10th annual. It kicks off tomorrow night, I think, doesn't it? Or is
Yep.
it?
Tomorrow night at Underwood. Yep.
That will be up at Underwood, and then they will be joined with the Legendary Tour, which will be racing with them for a few nights, and then on Wednesday it goes over to the Southwest Speedway. Why do I have something posted for tonight? Oh, that's not supposed to be there. Weird. Um, they have the Tougher Than Dirt Tour and the Legendary Tour go over to the Southwest Speedway in Dickinson. Thursday, busy week, busy night, that is. Tri County is not racing. I'm in the wrong week. Holy crap.
Well, remember they kind of changed their schedule up from when they
Yeah,
first originally
They
did.
yeah,
did.
I was
Yeah.
in July. Anyway, that's
Yeah,
why I
they
was
did.
confused. The Tougher Than Dirt Tour goes up to the Wilson Basin Speedway for a full night of racing up there. That'll be a good night for everyone involved up in the northwest part of the state. And then over at Cheyenne, they will be racing as well. They got a full night of racing in store for their fans. Friday looks super busy. The River Cities will be racing. They got NOSA, the NLRA late models again, West Streets, Midwest Mods. So a good show for them. Estevan has the Tougher Than Dirt Tour and a full show as well with all their other racing classes. Red River will be racing the Bison Battle. Increased purses across the fields for the mods for sure. And just about all their other classes, with the exception of the sprints. And Dakota Speedway will be also racing, as they will have the Mary Better Hobby Stock Challenge and the legendary Legend Tour invading their speedway, along with a full night of their other classes as well. And then on Saturday, the Devil's Lake Speedway will be racing again with the non-wing sprints, Minnesota Midwest Mods, Minnesota Streets, and the Pure Stocks. Jamestown will be racing as well with the sixth annual Don Gumke's Racers Memorial with the Legendary Tour, the Mary Vetter Hobby Stock Challenge, and the rest of their divisions. The Thunder Mountain Speedway will be racing that night as well, as it's the next to last night of the Tougher Than Dirt Tour. They will have IMC Sport Mods, IMC Hobby Stocks, IMC Sport Compacts, their Enduro division, and the Slingshots. And then rounding it off for the weekend, it will be Tri County Speedway racing with all their divisions, along with the final night of the Tougher Than Dirt Championship. Um, they will have the IMC Hobby Stocks, IMC Sport Mods, the Slingshots, and the Semi Pro Legends. So that rounds out the week.
Just
So
just a little bit more.
a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Starting tomorrow,
Yep.
or basically on Tuesday, because we're taping this on a Monday.
My goal is to get this episode out on Tuesday.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, so we're basically starting now. Have a lot going on.
You have approximately 35 minutes before tomorrow becomes today.
Yep.
It's true. So
And it's
Mason,
probably good.
no editing, just post it.
Oh gosh, we'll get canceled like within 5 minutes. Well, outside of the state of North Dakota, there's still a lot going on, which actually starts this Wednesday. The High Limit Series is going to be over at the Red Cedar Speedway in Menominee. So that'll be an interesting race to watch because I don't think I've really seen. Well, I think they had the UMSS sprints there this last week or the week before.
Yep, this past week.
This past one,
So,
yeah. Because I was going to say when I picked, I think it was all sports.
yeah. So that'll be a fun treat to kind of have high limits in the near area and see how that fares over in Menominee. On Thursday, a lot going on. We have Dakota State Fair Speedway in Huron, Grand Rapids, KRA, Norman County with Meet the Drivers, and Rice Lake Speedway. I believe that's the start of the Fastlane Superstock Challenge
Mhm.
or Fastlane Superstock Series. So, a lot going on Thursday the 5th. Friday the 6th, we have Brown County Speedway, I-94 Speedway, the first of their two-night doubleheader, King of the Dirt, Princeton Speedway, and I have Red Cedar Speedway listed. I might have to double check on that, but that's Friday's action. Saturday, Cedar Lake racing once again. Dakota State Fair Speedway also on the schedule for Saturday as well. Greenbush Race Park in action the second night over at I-94, along with Madison Speedway, North Central, and Ogilvie Raceway. Sunday the 8th, Bemidji Speedway with another night of action. Buffalo River Speedway has the NLRA late models, Casino Speedway, and Redwood Speedway. So, another good solid weekend of racing. Initial look at the forecast looks to be like in the mid 70s all weekend. So, pretty comfortable. Which means you might want a sweatshirt once the sun goes down. Or if you're Becca, we'll have that 3XL hoodie ready to go right away.
Now, is that a 3XL or is that a 5?
Well, she said 3XL on the Madrid shirt. I don't know what size sweatshirt she was wearing at Dakota Speedway because I'm like, Becca, that's a
I mean, it looked like a dress.
yeah. I was like, Becca, why are you wearing an oversized hoodie?
Yeah, that's the question we all want to know.
Indeed.
And Jessup and I were just like, Becca, get over here and help with the camera. We need to get this in now.
Yeah,
And she did Victory Lane.
No,
she's
we're
like,
getting this in here now.
let's
The
worry
fact that
about Victory Lane over losing about a good chunk of change on our equipment.
That part, I started laughing all hoping. I was like, Becca, priorities.
Yeah,
well, kudos to Becca that she once the equipment got into the tower, she did Victory Lane interviews in the rain. So
this is true.
I should have started playing a rain song, Jessup.
You should
Lost
have.
opportunity. I actually had packed my stuff up already because I was like, at one point I looked at the weather. I'm like, ooh, it actually might storm a little bit. I'm like, I want to get out of here before it turns into a mud pit. So I got out of there like really quick after we got done. Although I was there longer than what I've been the last couple of weeks before that.
John didn't want to get wet.
I didn't
Yeah,
want my hair to shrink.
I was one of the last people there again.
I would have jetted
Jessup
out
still
right
did.
away on Friday, unfortunately, this time, Jessup.
Don't worry, I'm used to it. Everybody leaves early on Fridays. Nobody wants to
Mhm.
hang out.
We all leave him.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Continue
Oh,
on.
wait, like,
We'll display the white flag for our good friend Brody Karlsrud in the B1 IMCA stock car, who had just one race of action this weekend. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out too well. He got in a fight with the infield tractor tire at Norman County Raceway, and unfortunately, the tractor tire won. So, unfortunate weekend for the B1 IMCA stock car, but he'll be back in action this weekend. You can give his Facebook page a follow at Brody Karlsrud B1 Racing, as well as his podcast, The Real Deal with B1. Thank you so much, Brody, for supporting us. Hope you have some better success moving forward after this past weekend is now behind us. Wins of the week. I don't know if I've gotten a message from Becca yet
Jessup,
on
you
wins.
start.
Go ahead, Jet.
Well, I have a lot of people. I have so many people I can name. Um, I'm gonna leave the ones that are probably Becca's, which would be probably Riker and Carly,
Mhm.
would be Becca picks. So I'll go a little more out east, and I'll start with Adam Hensel making his return to the late model division with a win over at Cedar Lake. And so that was cool to see him get back behind the wheel of the late model. And then I would go with the Nelson family of Cade and Daryl, as uh, Cade picked up the USRA late model feature win at Cedar Lake, and Daryl picked up the mod feature win. And then Daryl had a pair of second place finishes on uh, on Sunday night over at the opening night at the Proctor Speedway. Um, then my other one, I would say Garrett Hatnell for our sprint car fans. Uh, picked up back-to-back UMSS sprint car feature wins at Race Lake and Red Lake, and one additional bonus win, probably which would be Becca's other one, would be to the Dakota Speedway fans and drivers as they raised over $2,000 to help the Goodwin family. That was a really cool thing that they did. So those are the wins of the week.
Excellent set of wins there, Jessup.
Yep.
John, go ahead.
Okay. So my first of the win of the week is going to go to the Eisenshank sisters
Mhm.
because Amelia, let's start with her first. Amelia picked up third place in the NLRA late model feature on Friday night up at the River City Speedway and was the highest finishing spot by a woman in an NLRA race so far to
Nice.
date. So congratulations to her. And her sister, Layla, picked up a win over at the Buffalo River Speedway last night as part of the weekend with the Danny Schatz Memorial Race at the Red River Valley Speedway, and then went over to Buffalo River Speedway, and she was the feature winner over there. And then she also started deep in the feature in the late models on Friday night, and also went through and in River Cities, and also finished in the top 10. Almost picked up our charger on that one too. So they had a strong weekend overall. The sisters did. They're kind of coming into their own. Mason and I were kind of talking about it too. It's very interesting to watch them in the sprints and in the late models, because each sister I think is finding a little bit of their niche in both of them. To where you could definitely tell that one of the sisters is a little bit better maybe in late models, and one of the sisters is a little bit better in sprints, depending on where they're at from what track and what series. So that part's pretty cool to see. So the other win of the week that I have to give out is I'm going to give a win of the week over to Greg Josie. Greg has picked up a couple feature wins already this season in the 28 machine. I really like his paint scheme on his street stock, and he's had a very strong start to his season. And it's good to see Greg, who's been a longtime supporter of the Minnesota Street Stock division, having a pretty nice start to the season. So congratulations, Greg, so far on the 2025 start. And then Mason, my final win of the week is I have to give it over to a driver that is kind of making a return to racing up at the kind of the Underwood McLean County Speedway was Reese Deegan, because Reese picked up the IMCA stock car feature win over in Underwood at the McLean County Speedway on Thursday night. I haven't seen Reese out a whole lot yet this year. I think that might have been his first or second race out so far of the season. And he beat a pretty strong field of cars. I think they had 22 to 23 stock cars in Underwood on Thursday for their season opener. So congratulations to Reese on a great win over there in Underwood.
Yeah, I think that's his first IMCA stock car win, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
I think so as well.
Yep. Yeah, when I saw the results, I'm like, dang, good job, Reese Dignan. I know he's been fighting that stock car since he got it, but good to see him that he broke into victory lane.
Yeah, I saw him a couple times last year at the start of the season and didn't really see him a whole lot after that. I know he ran over there in the Williston Basin area. But then it was kind of nice to see that been out a couple times this year and already parked in victory lane, so that's a good start.
Indeed. I just have a couple more to add, actually three more. First one I'm going to give out to Braden Fleck in the number 76 Minnesota Street Stock. Got his first feature win down at the Ogilvy Raceway. Not an easy place to win, especially with the competition there. So congrats to the number 76 machine. Hopefully it's the first of many for young Braden Fleck in that 76 car.
I
My
believe
second
Mason, is
one,
he 15 or 16?
oof, I want to say 15. I think he's really
Yeah, I
young.
think he's 15 years old. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool to see.
Yeah, that's awesome. Really sharp looking car too. One of my favorites.
Yes.
My second win of the week will go to Ron Sauer in the 42 Midwest Modified. Picked up the feature win over at the Vikings Speedway. Kind of wrecked the streak of Travis Ingebretson, who has been undefeated so far in the Midwest Modifieds. And I believe Ron, I think I saw he's like 76 years old from what I saw. So no, not a
He's
young
up there,
buck
yeah.
by any means, but still getting the job done in victory lane. So big congrats out to Ron Sauer in the 42 machine. And then the third win, kind of a overarching win, I think would for all of us, but would like to send some support and thoughts and prayers continued out to the Tim Goodwin family as they're recovering from the bad accident that they had last week leaving the McLean County Speedway. There's been updates posted that they're recovering. There's still going to be some more procedures and appointments over the next couple weeks, and so I'll be posting the GoFundMe in the comments section if you feel led to donate or support in any way. They could use all the support and prayers they could get, but hope for the best for Tim, Larissa, and Nilsa as they continue to recover from their injuries sustained in that accident as they continue to move forward. And I believe they also did a pass the helmet at Nodak Speedway, and they raised just a little over $4,000 for that. So a lot of good things happening for the Goodwin family, and hopefully that support continues on. So as we wrap up the episode with a long weekend coming up, what are the plans for this weekend?
Um,
A lot of
well,
racing.
yeah. Well, yes and no. I'm limited to what I can and can't do. So, um, probably Dakota Speedway in Jamestown for back-to-back nights of broadcasting with Dakota Speedway TV. And that's about it for me. I don't see myself doing too much else after that.
Yeah, having a little one kind of muddies the waters on some of those plans.
Yep, it certainly does.
Alrighty. John, what about you?
I'm going to be hitting four tracks this week. That's my plan, as long as weather stays good.
Nice.
So yeah, so we'll see because I plan on taking in Underwood tomorrow night. I will be announcing at Dakota Speedway and Jamestown Speedway on Friday, Saturday, and I plan on taking in the final night of the Tour Open Wine Out on Sunday.
Excellent. I plan for 400 race nights as well. Still debating on Thursday. I'm leaning right now towards Norman County Raceway again, because I probably won't get there for another month after this. I'll be in Fergus Falls for the Dick Johann King of the Dirt with the Street Stock Tour there. They're back in action this weekend, Friday and Saturday. And Sunday might be Casino Speedway. We'll see. But right now, that's the preliminary plan. But stay tuned for where we all end up. Any other closing thoughts as we wrap up episode 12?
Yeah, I got one. We were talking about the Goodwin family and the accident that they were in. There was an. It seems like there's been a lot of bad health issues, of misfortunes lately in the or this past week for sure. Uh, with Cole Searing having to have an emergency appendectomy, and then over further out east, there was a kind of a freak accident over at the Red Cedar Speedway with the Johnson Racing uh, team with their push, kind of the parent of the team, Kenny Johnson, who I personally know from the Derby world. But he was, from what I gathered, it sounds like he was going to push off Weston with the four wheeler, and it got caught. The four wheeler got caught on the car or something like that. I haven't heard all the details yet, but a real freak accident. But um, sending prayers out to Kenny and that family. Uh, it sounds like it's going to be a long road to recovery, but it sounds like the first initial reviews were a lot better than what they initially thought. So, um, hats off to all the people that helped Weston get back out on the track the next night in Race Lake and finish the night. I think they finished the night. I'm not real sure, but um, just keep the thoughts and prayers out to all of our racing families. It's been a really tough week, and they're all going to need it here. It's a long road with a lot of uphill battles to get to the end of the season at this point, whatever that may be, whether they race or just getting right back to normal health again.
Yep, absolutely. And also with the way the weather's been with like the wildfires and everything like that, I hope everyone that's if you have underlying health conditions with all this, hopefully pray that you stay healthy as well through all this, and hopefully weather turns to the better and kind of helps us enjoy the race weekends at the racetrack since we're going to be spending so much time outdoors over the next couple of months. And so, yes,
Mhm.
thoughts and prayers out to the racing community. Hope that everything continues to move in a positive direction and we can continue on with the summer and the sport that we love.
Mhm.
So, with that, that'll do it for episode 12 of season 4 for the Track Packers podcast. As always, be sure to like, share, comment, let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to know who's all taking in the show. Thank you to our sponsors, Hitch Harness, The Real Deal with B1 Brody Carlsrud, and Isaac Hot Sauce Sandro. We are now in the month of June. A lot of racing this weekend, so we hope to see you out there packing the track.